Hey there, it's Summer from Hammond's Nest, and I want to show you the simple steps I took to create this beautiful Let It Snow winter themed wreath. So I started out my bases. I'm working with Dixie Belle products today. I have a 24-inch grapevine wreath and a 1x6 wood board that I cut a little bit past the wreath when it's mounted on. You'll see how it all comes together, but let me show you what I did first. First, the board was painted with white chalk paint in the color cotton. And I distressed that. And then you see me here using the Steel Magnolia Moonshine Metallic to add some beautiful brightness and shimmer. And so I'm just kind of dusting that on. And the next thing is I have some Folk Art Extreme Glitter paints. And probably doesn't come through great in the video, but it adds a really nice glittery, shimmery effect over the entire piece. So I'm really wanting to create that shine and shimmer that you think about with snow. And once that's all dry, it's time to move on. For the next step, I chose to create a design on my silhouette machine and cut it on this stenciling vinyl. So this is meant to be to stick down for temporarily so you can paint it, but then you can pull it back up. So I laid that out, pieced it together. Another alternative would be if you had the words cut out in wood, Let It Snow, you can mount it on this wood or some metal words or something like that, but this was the route I went. So I'm just using, if you've never worked with a silhouette stencil, a sticker stencil before, there's a process. You know, you have backer paper and transfer paper and the vinyl. And so I'm going to go ahead and place that on there. I've lined it up, measured it, pulling off my transfer paper. And then if you don't work with vinyl stencil very much, one of my favorite tips is to always put down a layer over your words of your background color, so you can stop any kind of bleed through. You'll get really nice, crisp, clean lines on your end result if you put down a clear coat, and it kind of acts as a barrier so that no paint can get under there. While that's drying, I'm going to pull out another Steel Magnolia color to put on these cute little wooden snowflakes that I'm going to embellish the sign with. And the moonshine color I'm using now is a Pacific Blue by Dixie Belle. So it's a metallic. I'm going to use that same exact color while those snowflakes are drying, and I'm going to put it over my Let It Snow words. And so we're just going to fill all that in. And typically, like with the regular chalk mineral paints, I would do 2 coats of my color. Just the way that this worked out, this Pacific Blue color was beautiful on one try. And so it just filled in gorgeously. And then while that's drying a little bit, I'm going to take some of that Extreme Glitter by Folk Art that I put over the entire whiteboard, and I'm dusting the blue snowflakes. That just adds an extra layer of shimmer, I think. All right, so our design's all dry. I'm pulling out, weeding out all the stickers. Now it looks darker on the video now, so that's why I wanted to show you a close-up just how beautiful that blue is when it catches the light. And then it's time to glue on. I use a little E6000 glue and a little dab of hot glue just to hold it on there. The E6000 takes longer to set, and the hot glue kind of holds it in place so it can set. So that's what I'm doing here, and just taking my snowflakes to embellish my sign. I just thought it needed a little something else besides the words, so that's why I was glad I had these little wooden snowflakes around to do so. So I really love how it's coming together. The next thing I'm showing you is how I'm adding some highlights on all the downstrokes of the lettering. Even though I didn't hand letter this myself, I really wanted to add some extra dimension to the word. So I'm taking that Steel Magnolia color that I dusted on the whiteboard, and I'm using it to add some highlights all down the lettering. And I just think it adds a lot of interest. I'm going to keep doing that there. And then after that, I'm actually going to take that Extreme Glitter again, and I'm going to go back over where I did the highlights with the Steel Magnolia color. Now it looks kind of frosty now, but when it dries, it's very glittery, and this light is just going to pick it up. It's going to be so beautiful and shimmery. So after all this is dried, I will probably just take some clear spray and use to protect it, especially if you're going to put it on a front door. You could use this wreath inside, but that is it for the sign. So we're going to set that to the side. Then I'm going to show you how the other elements of the wreath were so simple to put together. So that beautiful snowflake ribbon I just showed you, that is what kind of set the color tone for the entire design. But first we're going to lay down and make sure our sign is exactly where we want it, how we're going to attach it. I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm just these branches, these faux greenery branches I picked up from Hobby Lobby, went in there perfectly, and they are not coming out. So I just kind of bent them, moved them in between the grapevine. That's one thing I love about working with a grapevine wreath. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. The first greenery I laid down had these pretty little snowy dew, frozen water, kind of icy look, and then the flocked greenery, so it goes really well together. So we're going to leave that there because we're going to fill it in with a bow. But all I did to tie on my board was I stapled some thick rope on the back and just tied it on one of the strongest branches, and it really laid in a nice spot for me. And I really like this concept too, because I'm not gluing anything down or permanently adhering anything to this wreath. And that means I could change it out for the seasons if I wanted to, just to make use of it. But, so while that's there, I'm just making sure everything's laid out so I can get started on my ribbon. So you see that beautiful snowflake ribbon, like I said, is really the star of the show here. It really ties in. And I'm going to make a bigger kind of faux loop bow is what I like to call it. The best thing, and it's going to have some tails too. Then I'm going to add another back piece. So all I did here was I cut 3 strips of every kind of ribbon that I was using. I was using 3 different ribbons, and I cut them 3 feet long for this size of bow that I wanted. And you're going to kind of see me here just get the ends ready. Then I have a big piece of string to go ahead and tie. You can use wire to tie or whatever. I use string all the time, so that's what I'm comfortable with. So all you do here is you make that loop, and where you tie it, where you see me pinching it, it's going to be where I'm tying the rope. So it's kind of giving the illusion that we're folding all this stuff together, but it's giving you some nice tails, making your bow look full. And you can go as big as you want, but I think with the size and scale of this wreath and the sign that it needed a nice big bow. So this will kind of be my topper, my feature. Once all that gets into place, then you can take that string and turn it over and give it a nice tight tie. And then the next thing is going to be to take what I wanted more of the ribbon to show would be that silver sparkly snowflake ribbon. And so I'm going to take it, and I'm actually going to cut 2 more strips of just over 3 feet, just a couple inches over 3 feet. And I'm just making that big X ribbon. So it's going to go as a backer underneath just to give a little bit of extra width and just really be a feature there at the top of this wreath. So give it a nice little tie, making sure. Then I'm going to kind of fluff it, move it about, and get it ready to tie in the center. Well, of course, this is the finishing touch for this beautiful wreath. And like I said, everything's tied on, nothing's glued on. You could change this out. But anyway, I'm just playing with the ribbons, getting it all spread out, making sure I used a combination of 2 wire ribbons. So you see me rolling and kind of curling with the end of a paintbrush, and just kind of shaping all that. It's beautiful. I love the way this came out. So much prettier in person because you can see a lot of the sparkle. And so I'm going to give you a close-up look here. See how that iridescent, that light bounces off the words and everything. It's so gorgeous. It's the perfect winter wreath. Let it snow, let it snow. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. I'll see you again real soon. Bye, y'all.